Hello and welcome you all. Dear students, today's topic is Operation on Continuous Time Signals, that is CT signals part 1. This is the most important part of this unit and it's lengthy as well as complicated, so I am making it into two parts. So this is part 1. Let us directly start solving the numericals. So first question is, sketch the signal x of t is equals to r of t minus r of t minus 1 minus u of t minus 2. Before solving the numericals, let us recall the things. While solving the discrete signals, I have told you two simple rules. Just check the signs inside the bracket. If inside the bracket opposite sign is there, shift diagram towards right, it is SR, shift right. If inside the bracket same sign is there, shift diagram towards left, it is SL. Now, to solve any numerical, to sketch any problem related to this CT signal, you need to have two signals. First is unit step. Unit step, as the name indicates, it is the signal starting from t is equals to 0. Its amplitude is 1 till infinity. So, this is the diagram of unit step. Dear students, please watch the video related to standard signals or test signals, that all those signals are required for the three subjects in this semester. So first standard signal is u of t, that is unit step. One more standard signal you need while solving the numericals on CT signals. That standard signal is a ramp signal denoted by r of t. The diagram of ramp signal is like this. It is a simple ramp starting from 0 till 0, it's increasing. Just to avoid the confusion, when you draw the diagram of ramp signal, in the diagram itself, be habitual of marking the readings. So I will mark some readings. Do remember, this is a ramp signal at 1. This is the reading of time in seconds, say 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, and so on. In case of ramp signal, at t is equals to 1, amplitude is 1. At t is equals to 2, amplitude is 2. At t is equals to 3, amplitude is 3. That's what I explained while studying this standard signals. Okay, in this case, just remember it like this. Whatever value of t you have, same is the value of amplitude. So at 1 amplitude is 1, at 2 amplitude is 2, at 3 amplitude is 3, and so on till infinity. Now, look at the question. It is asked to sketch this signal r of t minus 1 minus u of t minus 2. You should not draw a diagram at a stretch for entire signals. Be habitual of drawing the diagram stepwise. So first consider only these two signals. At a time you need to consider only two signals. I will give some reference number, some figure number for the reference. Say this is figure 1. So the signal starts with r of t. I have drawn the diagram of r of t. That is figure number 1. Minus, that means I will have to subtract another diagram from this, and that another diagram is r of t minus 1. Now how to draw this diagram r of t minus 1? Listen it carefully. Remember two simple rules. Look at the variables inside the bracket of any signal. This is t minus 1. Rather, it is plus t minus 1. So plus minus sign is there. Plus minus sign means opposite sign. Opposite sign means shift diagram towards right. Only two simple rules you will have to follow. Opposite sign inside the bracket is shifting diagram towards right. Same sign inside the bracket is shifting diagram towards left. So it is r of t minus 1. That means opposite sign is there, plus t minus 1. So shift diagram towards right by one position. Which diagram you have to shift? Diagram of r of t, because it is r of t minus 1, so you need to shift diagram of r of t. So before starting, mark some readings in the diagram. Now I will have to shift this diagram towards right. This diagram is starting from 0, so shifted diagram will start from 1. Nature of diagram will remain as it is. Now this is a ramp signal, only starting point is different. It was 0, now it becomes 1 because I have shifted this diagram towards right by one position. But since it is a ramp signal, in the signal itself, be habitual of writing the readings. So do remember, I will tell you one more simple thing. Whenever you will draw the ramp, time period is 0, 1, 2, 3. Same way, amplitude is also 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. So go on writing the amplitude. So it is 0. This amplitude is 1. next amplitude is 2, next amplitude is 3, and so on. Don't get confused. Value of time period is 4, but amplitude is 3. So what I said, simply blindly go on writing the amplitudes on this signal 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay, so this is the diagram of R of t minus 1. Let us say it is figure number 2. Now what I have to do? I have to perform this subtraction operation, that means figure 1 minus figure 2. How to draw the resultant diagram? Here I will write figure 1 minus figure 2. Now how to perform the subtraction? Figure 1 minus figure 2. I will draw the scale initially before starting the operation 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. On y-axis I am not writing anything because it is figure 1 minus figure 2. How to perform the subtraction? Listen carefully. It is performed addition or subtraction, anything. It is performed stepwise. That means at 0, this amplitude is 0, amplitude of first signal is 0. At 0, amplitude of second signal is not existing. Whenever any signal is not existing, its amplitude is 0. So this is 0, this is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. So I will get first point of amplitude 0. Mark that point. Next, at 1, this amplitude is 1. At 1, this amplitude is 0. I am talking about this one. At 1, this amplitude is 1. At 1, this amplitude is 0. 1 minus 0 is 1. So at 1, I will get a point of amplitude 1. Let us say this amplitude is 1. Do remember we are marking amplitudes on y-axis, and this is at 1. This is at point 1. So at 1, amplitude is 1. Now, another important thing. Whenever you will mark 2 points, be habited of directly joining it by a straight line. It is not the end of a diagram. I want to continue it further. But since I got 2 points, I have joined it by the straight line. Next, we have completed till 1. Next calculation. At 2, this value, amplitude is 2, amplitude of first signal is 2. At 2, amplitude of second signal, this amplitude of second signal is 1. So 2 minus 1 is 1. That means at 2, I will get a point of amplitude 1. This amplitude 1 level is like this only. So I have marked this point. Again, what I said, whenever you will get 2 points, join it by the straight line. So I will join it by the straight line. Next, at 3, same way, amplitude is 3. At 3, this amplitude is 2. 3 minus 2, again 1. So at 3, you will get a point of amplitude 1. Same level, join it with the previous point by the straight line. Likewise, you will continue this diagram. So mark it, show it by a dotted line. This is the resultant diagram which I got by performing figure 1 minus figure 2. Let us say this is figure number 3. Every time write some figure numbers so that the calculation will be easy. Next part, how to think. Now consider the last term. Actually, this first part we have completed. This represents figure number 3. This part I have finished, which represents figure number 3. From this, I have to subtract another signal u of t minus 2. Now how to think? Related to u of t minus 2, basic signal is u of t. The diagram I have drawn it for your reference. Look at the signs inside the bracket. It is plus t minus 2. Same technique. Plus minus sign is there. So I have to shift the diagram towards right by 2 positions. Which diagram? Diagram of u, that is unit step. This is the diagram of unit step. It starts from 0. I have to shift it towards right by 2 positions. So I will draw the diagram. First I will mark the reading 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up to infinity. This is the diagram for u of t minus 2. Now, since this diagram I have to shift right towards shift right by 2 positions, that means it will be starting from 2 because it was starting from 0. So the diagram will be like this. Same diagram I am drawing of unit step. Its amplitude is 1. It starts from 2. Originally it was starting from 0, and from 2 till infinity its amplitude is remain 1. Say this is figure number 4. Now what do you need to do? Since this is figure number 4, what I have drawn for u of t minus 2, next part is figure 3 minus figure 4, because there is a minus sign in between. So I will write it over here, figure 3 minus figure 4. How to perform this operation? Again, like the previous case, first draw the scales. So it is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. This is the resultant diagram. So on this axis I will mark x of t. At any other points I haven't marked, like in this case I haven't marked anything on the y-axis. Okay. Figure 3 minus figure 4, same logic, you will have to think point wise. Look at figure 3. At 0, amplitude is 0. At 0, this signal is not present. So we have to subtract it. 0 minus 0 becomes 0. So I will mark this point like this. Second, at 1, this amplitude is 1. At 1, nothing is there. So 1 minus 0, 1. I will get a point of amplitude 1. This is amplitude 1. What I said, whenever you are getting 2 points, without fail, join it by a straight line like this. Next, at 2, this amplitude is 1. At 2, this amplitude is 1. What we are doing? We are performing subtraction. So, once again, at 2, this amplitude is 1. At 2, this amplitude is 1. 1 minus 1 becomes 0. So, at 2, I will get a point of 0. The question arises, should I join this? Should I join it like this? Or should I join it like this? Okay, let us discuss this point. Here, according to the calculation, at 2 I got value 0 because at 2 this was 1, at 2 this was again 1. So 1 minus 1 I got 0. I don't know whether to join like this or like this. So to avoid the confusion, let us take one more reading in between 1 and 2 because there is a confusion at value 2. So let us say I want to take reading at 1.5. Look at this diagram. At 1.5, see, from 1 onwards, everywhere amplitude is 1. At 1.5, amplitude is 1. At 1.5, nothing is there, signal is absent. So 1 minus 0, you will get 1. So at 1.5, you will get amplitude 1. Again, join it by a straight line. That means I will have to complete the diagram like this. Initially, there was a confusion whether to complete the diagram like this or like this. So what I said, take in between reading, you will come to know whether the signal is following which path, either this path or this path. So I got this point, so I have decided to join the diagram like this. So this is the resultant diagram by performing the operation r of t minus 1 minus u of t minus 2. So let us solve one more numerical to get this concept more clear. The next question is, sketch the signal x of t is u of t plus 1 minus 2 u of t plus u of t minus 1. Now, there is no ramp signal in the given question. So there is only a signal related to unit step. So for the reference, I have drawn the unit step. Just now we discussed it in the last numerical. It is a unit step starting from t is equals to 0. Its amplitude is 1 till infinity. Like the previous case, we'll have to consider two signals at a time. So I am talking about first two signals. First signal, u of t plus 1. Same rules. So check the signs inside the bracket. It is plus plus because it is t plus 1. That means plus t plus 1. Same sign is there. Shift diagram towards left. By how much amount? By amount 1. So this diagram of u of t, I have to shift it towards left by amount 1. The diagram starts from 0. If you shift it towards left by an amount 1, it will be starting, the diagram will be like this. It will be starting from minus 1. Very simple. This diagram was starting from 0. I have to shift it towards left by one position. So if you shift it towards left, the diagram starts from minus 1 like this. The amplitude remains same. It is 1. This is the diagram of u of t plus 1. Then let us give some number like previous numerical, say figure 1. Next, minus, I have to subtract this from this diagram. I have to subtract another diagram, that is minus 2 u of t. Skip this 2 aside. Minus u of t. U of t is the same signal, but it is multiplied with 2. That means its amplitude is multiplied with 2. Very simple. Its amplitude is 1. If it is multiplied by 2, the amplitude becomes simply 2. So I will draw the another diagram, that is 2u of t. Again I will mark some scales on x-axis. Do remember, x-axis is related to time period. Now since it is 2u of t minus 2, don't think about this minus sign. Minus sign is for the subtraction. I have to subtract second diagram from first one, that's why minus sign is there. So this amplitude which is 1, it will be multiplied by 2. So new signal will be like this till infinity, its amplitude is 2. Now let us complete this part first. So say this is figure number 2. Like the previous case, first I will sketch the diagram for figure 1 minus figure 2. Again for the reference, mark some scales 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. Now this is starting from minus 1, so I need some negative scale also. So I have started from minus 1, anything will do. This figure 2, I have to subtract it from figure 1. At minus 1, again like the same previous case, you will have to think term wise. At minus 1, this amplitude is 1. At minus 1, signal is not present, that means 1 minus 0 becomes 1. So at minus 1, I will get a point of amplitude 1, the signal like this. Then at 0, this amplitude is 1. At 0, this amplitude is 2. So 2 plus 1 becomes 3. So at 0, this amplitude is 1. Once again, at 0, this amplitude is 1. At 0, this amplitude is 2. And I am subtracting, not adding. I am subtracting. So 1 minus 2, it becomes minus 1. Since I have completed the diagram up to this point, this amplitude is 1. At minus 1, I got amplitude 1 because 1 minus 0, 1. Then at 0, this is 1. At 0, this is 2. 1 minus 2 is minus 1. So at 0, I got the value that is minus 1. Since it is minus 1, I will mark the reading on y-axis like this. This value is minus 1. This is the point. Again the same logic. Whether to join the diagram by this line or like this. Make the thing simple. Like the previous case, again you can take some intermediate reading like value at minus 0.5 and then you can think. But in this problem it's very simple. Everything is unit step. So the diagram should be like a unit step. Unit step is like this only. It is a stepwise action. So I will draw the diagram like this. I will get the diagram till here. Still if you are getting confused in the exam, I have told you the simple rule. Take some reading, in between reading. For example, I will show you in this sum. Suppose I want to take reading at minus 0.5. So at minus 0.5, this amplitude is 1. At minus 0.5, it is 0. 1 minus 0 is 1. So at minus 0.5, I got the value 1. I was up to this point. So I got the clue that I have to go like this only. So now I have reached up to this point, that is minus 1. Next reading. At 1, see. This is at 0, this is at 1, 2, 3 and till infinity its amplitude is 1. At 1 this amplitude is 1. At 1 this amplitude is 2. So 1 minus 2 is minus 1. Again at 1 I will get the reading of minus 1. Minus 1 means this point. Again join it with the previous point by a straight line. Whenever you are marking any new point, join it with the previous point by a straight line. Let us take one more reading. At 2 this amplitude is 1. At 2 this amplitude is 2. 1 minus 2 is minus 1. Again at 2 I will get a point of minus 2. This point, join it by the previous line. Likewise the diagram will continue. This is the reading for minus 1. Let us give some figure number. Say this is figure number 3. Now next part, what I need to do, I have to consider the last term of the given question, that is the term u of t minus 1. We need to draw the diagram separately like the previous sum. U of t minus 1. So look at the signs inside the bracket. It is plus t minus 1. Plus minus is opposite sign. Opposite sign means shift right. I have to shift right this diagram of u of t. I have to shift it towards right by how many positions? By position 1. So first draw this diagram. Mark some scales like 0, 1, 2, 3 till infinity. This is diagram for u of t minus 1. Original diagram was starting from 0. It is shift right by 1 position. So new diagram will start from 1. Like this. It will be till infinity. Its amplitude is 1. Again, give some figure number. Say figure 4. Next, what I'm supposed to do? This diagram, I mean for this signal, I got figure 4. For this part, I got figure 3. So very simple. Figure 3 plus figure 4. I have to perform this operation. Figure 3 plus figure 4. We have got both the figures. To avoid the confusion, I will tell you one more simple trick. First, let me mark some readings. This is 0, this is -1, this is 1, 2, 3, and so on. See, this diagram starts at 1. This diagram is starting from -1. Since it is starting from 1, before 1 it was 0. So whatever diagram you have before 1, keep it as it is. I mean directly without doing any calculation. I am drawing this earlier diagram. This amplitude was 1. Earlier diagram as it is. See, this was -1, this was 1. Till 1 I am drawing the diagram as it is. Mark the point. Once again listen. This diagram was starting from 1, whereas this diagram was starting from -1. That means before 1 nothing is there. So this diagram I have drawn it till 1, till the point from where this figure 4 starts. I have drawn this earlier diagram as it is. At 1 I got this point. I have stopped drawing the diagram up to this point. Now at 1 this amplitude is 1. At 1 this amplitude is -1. What I am supposed to do? I want to add these two figures, figure 3 and figure 4. At 1 this amplitude is -1. At 1 this amplitude is 1. -1 plus 1 becomes 0. So at 1 I got the point of 0. Mark that point. Earlier I have moved up to this point. So whenever you will get a new point, draw it directly by a straight line. Let us take one more reading. At 2 this is 1. At 2 this is -1. 1 -1 0. At 2 again I am getting 0. So 0 is optional. Even if you won't mark in the diagram, it's okay. At 3 this is 1. At 3 this is -1. Again it becomes 0 and so on till infinity. It will start generating 0. So this is the resultant diagram for the signal x of t. So dear students, I have solved two numericals related to the basics. So if you are well comfortable with these operations, I mean if you have understood these two numericals, you will be in a position to solve any numericals. But in the next session, for the practice purpose, I will cover up some important complicated numericals. So that's it for today's session. Thank you. Thanks a lot.